This module of Inventor will include instruction on how to create a 3-view drawing from a 3D solid model, and it will include instruction on how to use the chamfer command. We'll start by moving our cursor to the upper left portion of the screen. We'll left click on the new icon. The Create New File dialog box will appear. I'll pull that down so you can see the top of it. We'll left click on Standard Inventor Parts, and then we'll left click on Create. Then we'll move our cursor to the upper left portion of the screen. We'll left click on Start 2D Sketch. Move our cursor to the front plane or the XY plane. Once it becomes highlighted, we'll left click one time. Then we're going to start by just drawing a very simple block. We'll move our cursor to the Line command, left click on Line, and we'll just start with something that looks similar to what is shown. This will be a block with a kind of a kicked up area on the left side. So I move my cursor waiting for those dots to appear that show I'm lined up with the original endpoint. And I'll move my cursor down waiting for that green dot, left click, then right click, left click on OK. Then I'll move my cursor to the dimension icon, left click once. Move my cursor to the very bottom line. When it becomes highlighted, we'll left click one time. We'll drag the cursor down, left click again. We'll enter 2.0. And Inventor will scale up the entire sketch so that it keeps the proportions the same. We'll move the cursor over here, left click once, enter 1. Move the cursor to this portion. Enter 1.5, and we'll move our cursor to the right portion, left click, we'll enter 0.75, and we should be good for extruding a solid. So I'm going to right click, left click on OK, and a right click again, left click on Finish 2D Sketch, and I'll wheel it out a little bit and move it down. I'm going to move my cursor up to the extrude icon, left click one time, and we'll just take the default, left click on OK, and we have our block. Now we're going to create some geometry that will add some features to this so that when it's projected into a 3-view drawing, it will have somewhat of a interesting appeal rather than just a block with the top, front, and side views. So I'll move my cursor over this right side surface. When it becomes highlighted, I'm going to right click. I'm going to left click on New Sketch. Inventor will rotate it around. I'm going to zoom it up here just a little bit. First thing I'm going to do is put a circle on it. So I'm going to move my cursor to the upper left portion of the screen. I'll left click on the Circle command and left click somewhere here down to the lower area, and then I'm going to right click and left click on OK. I'm going to move my cursor up to the dimension icon and move it on the edge of the circle, not the center. I'm going to left click. I'm going to enter 0.25, and we'll left click on the center of the circle, edge of the part, hit the center again. Nope. I have to turn it off center just a little bit. And we'll pan it up. So we'll hit dimension. Hit 0.5. And then we'll hit dimension again. And this needs to be 0.25. Then I'll right click, left click on OK. Then I'll move my cursor up here to the Line command. And we're going to draw in some geometry that will create a dovetail. So we're just sketching this right now. Then we'll right click, left click on OK. We'll zoom it in. So we need 70-degree angle between these two lines. So I'm going to left click on the dimension icon, then I'll move my cursor to the angled line, and then to the horizontal line, enter 70. I'm going to enter 70. Then from this intersection to the edge of the part, 0.175. At intersection, edge of the part, 0.175. Then the depth from here to here is going to be 0.25. Then I'm going to right click, left click on OK. This just needs to be stretched up past the top, probably even with the top. Then we'll right click. Oh, we're ready to roll here, looks like. Okay, so we're going to hit Finish Sketch. And we'll wheel it out just a little bit. Now I'm going to rotate it around and get a little better view. Right click, left click on OK. I'm going to left click on Extrude. And I'm going to move the cursor inside the circle. I'm going to left click once. And then inside the dovetail cutout, I'm going to left click once. Then I'm going to left click on Cut. And that will automatically reverse the direction. Then we'll enter 2. And if we rotate it around, we'll be able to see, oh, my line doesn't go all the way up. So I'm going to go back into my sketch and fix that. So I'm going to right click, left click on OK. This is something we'll cover in Chapter 5. You can get a little preview of it here, as we can go over here and basically edit what we did. Say Edit Sketch. This line needs to be up a little higher, and I should have dimensioned it. So we'll right click. We're out of the command, so we just finish Sketch, and then when it updates, it cuts. Now I put it up a little too high. I should have snapped it to that intersection, but okay, we'll use the Rotate command to rotate it around. Right click, left click on OK. I'm going to push the mouse wheel down. Now we'll add a chamfer to this edge up here. We'll move our cursor up to the chamfer icon. Left click one time. I'm going to left click on this arrow that expands the chamfer icon, or the chamfer dialog box. And then we're going to do a 2 distance chamfer, which is this third one listed here. I'm going to left click on this line, and then we'll enter 0.25 for distance 1 and 0.1875 for distance 2. And that will give us a little preview of the chamfer. And then we'll left click on OK. And then we'll use the rotate command to rotate the part around. And that is what the chamfer does. Kind of cleans up the part a little bit. So now we're going to use this 3D solid model to create a 3-view drawing, typically known as an engineering drawing, a manufacturing drawing, or orthographic projection drawing, top, front, and side views. But to do this, we have to save the part first. So I'm going to move the cursor over to the little arrow next to the I for Inventor. Drop that down. I'm going to left click on Save As. And just save it pretty much anywhere here. Part 3. And then once it's saved, Inventor will create a home view. That's basically just the default home view. Now we're ready to create a 3-view drawing. So I'm going to move my cursor up to the little white piece of paper. I'm going to left click on the little arrow to the right of the white piece of paper, and this is a miniature display of the Create New File dialog box. If you remember, this is where you can create an assembly, a drawing, a part, or a presentation. Up to this point we've created parts. We're now going to create a drawing, and then in Chapter 7 we will create an assembly. So right now we'll left click on Drawing, and we'll give Inventor a minute to process that and load up the necessary files. And what Inventor is going to do is load up what looks like a piece of paper, and that piece of paper will be used to project the top, front, and side views onto. Now I've left the existing solid model open. Down here at the bottom of the screen is our tabs. So here is the 3D solid model, and then here's the drawing that we just opened up. So I'm going to start by moving my cursor to the upper left portion of the screen. I'm going to left click on Base View, and because I've left that file open, that part should already appear, and then attached to the cursor is the outline of the part. So I'm simply going to left click, I'll drag a part over here. This will be an isometric view, a little miniature 3D solid model. Then I'll left click over here. This will be the side view. Right click, and then, or left click, sorry. Then you right click. Older versions of Inventor say create right here. This version you just left click on OK. And Inventor will crank through, and you've got a 3-view drawing. Now, to dress up the drawing a little bit, typically it is common practice to make the isometric view a little miniature 3D solid model. So to do this, we move our cursor close to the view, and when the dots of view around the view appear, you right click, we left click on Edit View. Then we'll move our cursor over here to Style, left click on Shaded, and we'll left click on OK. And we now have a miniature 3D solid model. So this concludes this module on the creation of a solid model, use of the chamfer command, and how to create a 3-view drawing.